Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another video on the channel. And today guys, we're going to be doing my AFL 2022 round 2 review, So in today's video, we're going to be doing an AFL 2022 round 2 review. So there's some pretty big action that has to be caught up on from round number 2. Now again, round previews have been chucked out of this. I've made them their own video going out tomorrow, just because I find it a little bit too crampy. That's why I've done the 3-game match reviews as well. Just then there's pressure off this. Otherwise, then I've got to try and fit all 18 teams into a 10 or so minute video, which is just too hard sometimes. And you'd have to agree, if you were to try and make a review and you get 40 seconds in each team, it's a bit hard. So that's why I've done the 3-game match reviews, as 9 goes into 3 perfectly. So, boom. Now, today, big action. We're going to be looking at the scores in the worm of every game. Let's go ahead and hop right into things. First game of round number 2 was the Western Bulldogs and Carlton did battle at Marvel Stadium. The Blues Hyenas went out by 12 points, 90 to 102. Now, the Blues were in front for most of the game. You can see that the Doggies had that little lead, and really they never showed any more snarl or bite for the rest of the contest. They were always in it, but again, just too many behinds that probably could have cost them. Look at that. Look at that. 7 behinds in that final term. That probably does cost you the game in some case scenarios. Here are some stats. You can just see that, like, your normal blokes are in and out with disposals. Kerno popped up 5 goals. Dunkley, Bonampelli, 8 tackles. It's a pretty good game, this one. Carlton go 2-0. Doggies go 0-2. There's some problems down there perhaps right now. So if we go out of that, second game of the round is between the Swans and the Cats. Buddy brings up his 1,000, and it is a pretty good sight to see. The Cats again lead for this first little part of the first quarter, and then the rest is just the Sydney dominance. And look at that big line. There is time to do something for either team to build the lead out for Swans, bring it back for the Cats. A lot of nothing, and yeah, that was where I'm pretty sure that would have been where Buddy's goal was kicked and the game was delayed as well. So, yeah. And then the little down, signalling a Cats goal to end things off. But again, it was just not the game for the Cats. The Swans, the better team in the end. Sydney winning 107 to 77 mils in there. Heaney 5 goals. Sydney midfielders can go forward and kick goals, and then 8 tackles for Cam Guthrie. So the next game of the round here on the Saturday is a interesting battle between Collingwood and Adelaide at the MCG during the daytime. Collingwood get the job done by 42 points. A very low scoring game for the Crows, and the Pies, they showed that they can be a very good team when they need to. They got the job done. Not only getting the job done, doing it convincingly. So the first part was quite even, and it was quite an even first term until the end where the Pies built it out here. And then second term was very, very interesting. Both teams had their fair share of the contest. Not really a lot going on there. Third term was just Pies dominance, and then fourth term was just, again, not really too much going on there. But it was a big win for the Pies. You can see there, Keys 37 touches, 131 fantasy. He goes in and hard every week and gets those disposals. Henry, McCreary, Kruger, 2 goals, 10 tackles for Crisp. But Collingwood get the job done there. Essendon and Brisbane at Marvel Stadium. And this one looked like Essendon could have won it early. But the Lions fight back to win 75 to 97. Neil again delivered the punching below, which ended the game. But you can see Essendon had their fair share of it in that first term. They led for the entirety of the quarter, actually. And then they were just way too weak. You can see right there, that's a big point there, where the Lions is bringing it back into their game. Third term goes in the Lions' favour, and from there they win it. Just like that. Neil 41 touches in the goal, 3 goals for Perkins and Wright and McCluggage. 145 fantasy for both Zorko and Neil, and 5 tackles for Jared Berry. But yeah, this one, interesting. But again, I think most people did think that the Lions were going to win it, as of course they are a good team. The Bombers haven't started off their year to the best of ways. Have the Bombers, they got thumping loss in round 1 and not the best result in round number 2. Now for the Power, they got a loss in round 1 and they got thumping loss in round number 2 against the Hawks. Look at this. The Power never led and the Hawks were just brilliant. Ended up winning by 64 points, 56 to 120. That is crazy. They won. The Hawks won by more than what the Power could even score. Now, yes, you could argue the Power inaccurate, 100%. The Hawks scored 13 goals in a row. And they were just a better team on the night, I'll say. They were just a better team on the night. You look at this. And that Worm, first term, even. Second term, Power. The Hawks extend it. Third term, it's the real punching blow. Final term, another real punching blow. And I'll tell you, that goal there, probably, start of the final term, or even one of them goals in third term, just probably defines it. The Power just didn't rock up. And they didn't have the best defensive lot tonight, on that night either. And the Power, they had like four people that got in over 30, but they were just useless, such as Mitch Lewis, 5 goals, stood up when he needed to, broke 152 fantasy, Butters 11 tackles. The other Saturday night game was a very close game between Gold Coast and Melbourne. Gold Coast really fought this one out. And I'd have to say that you'd be like, oh, I'm actually pretty happy with this. We may have lost by 13 points. But I'll tell you what, it's a pretty good result up against the reigning Premier, 69-82 Demons winning. You can see there that is where Gold Coast got out to their 15-point lead early. The D's brought it back, and they were in control. They always had about a 10 or so 10-15 point lead throughout the rest of the game. They were a steady margin ahead, 2-3 kicks up. So it was a bit of that comforting margin. And even if goals conceded, they were always going to get one back. Anyway, and Melbourne just have like one of the best teams, or if not the best team, probably the best team in the competition. Levi Casbolt 2 goals, Kazai Pickett 2 goals, Lukosius 2 goals, Anderson 2 goals, Jackson 2 goals, Brown 2 goals. And Jackson and Gawn really did get that job done as well. Jackson, fantastic. Bowie, the rising star winner. Neil Bullen, 9 tags, 147 fantasy for Miller. 40 touches for the track. But yeah, it was an interesting game, this one. And Gold Coast, they did do pretty well by getting close to the D's anyway. They fought in a game where some people thought they wouldn't. This one was interesting. West Coast had plenty of top-up players on their list and managed to only lose by 15 points. They could have won the game at some stages. Larky kicked 6 goals for the Kangaroos. And the Roos were always in a steady comfort control with just around 15-point lead around the whole game as well. West Coast were in the lead there. But North Melbourne were in cruisy control for most of the game. 29 touches for Zeeble and Greenwood. 6 goals for Larky, 127 fantasy for Zeeble, and 10 tackles for Greenwood. But yeah, West Coast had so many players out due to health and safety protocols. They also welcomed back a fair few players. But to get a result like that, again, it's not too bad. Both teams were also reasonably inaccurate at their times as well. Now, Richmond GWS, Richmond took a nice 36-point win at the MCG. The Giants led for most of the first term there, and then the Tigers, they were just too good in the end. And in that third and fourth term, they really had a 25-point lead, which grew out to be high 30s. In the end, 36 points in the end, around that mark. Well, it was 36 points at the end, but it was around that mark for the last term from that end bit, and then the start around 25. Richmond, they were always around that 20-point margin, especially from quarter 3 onwards. The second term was interesting as well, but the Tigers, they were just a better team at the end. It did get a little bit close towards the end of that second term, but again, Tigers in control. It's the MCG. They do play quite well there. The Giants, not so much. 34 touches for Tom Green, 4 goals for Noah Bolts, 131 fantasy for Shaw, 8 tackles for Cochrane. But yeah, the Tigers are just way too good in this one. Almost a surprise upset of the round, actually. Fremantle St Kilda. St Kilda taking this one out by 10. Dockers actually kicking more goals than behinds in what was probably a dismal effort. 9-11 for the Saints, a little bit inaccurate. But you can see that this one was quite interesting. Dockers got off to a nice lead there, 18-4 at quarter time. St Kilda got no goals, so their 9 goals came from 3 turns, which was pretty decent for the Saints. These are two teams that are considered to make finals or around that mark this year. And at Optus Stadium, we all thought Freo were going to win this. No, the Saints the better team. They responded after a loss against Collingwood, and Freo had a handy lead for the first 2 terms. They were always up by by about more than 10, except here. And then they grew it back out. And then look at that staircase there. Plenty of consecutive goals to the Saints led to that. And then they end up hanging on in that final term and win by 10. And then if you have a look at some stats, 40 touches for Brayshaw, 181 fantasy. That is ridiculous. 13 tackles for Steele. Steele just goes in and does that every week. He gets touches, tackles, the fantasy. 4 goals for Higgins and King. The real saviours for the Saints. And then one other goal kicker, one other goal scorer. And then we're going to have a look at the ladder now. Hawthorn in first, second Collingwood, third Sydney, fourth Melbourne, fifth Brisbane, sixth Carlton, all on 8 points. 7 Geelong, 8 Gold Coast, 9 Richmond, 10 North Melbourne, 11 St Kilda, 12 Fremantle, all on 4 points, down on 0 points. 13 Western Bulldogs, 14 West Coast, 15 Adelaide, 16 GWS, 17 Essendon, 18 Port Adelaide. That is how it is going now. There we have a look at round 3. What is yet to come? We're not doing the preview out tomorrow where we can actually talk about these games a little bit more. Got the Doggies and the Swans, the D's and the Bombers, the Crows and the Power, the Giants and the Suns, Collingwood and the Cats, Brisbane and the Lion, and the Roos, Carlton and the Hawks, St Kilda and the Tigers, and West Coast and the Dockers. That is how round number 3 will play out. Interesting round ahead of us. That game's going to be interesting. The Sunday games could mean a lot, but I feel like that one will be. I mean, they're all going to be interesting. So we're not really going to point out which ones. This game as well will be quite interesting to say the least. See who wins the showdown. But anyway, thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you guys will never miss another video on the channel. Round 3 preview coming out tomorrow. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.